Hey folks, today we're talking about the unsung heroes of many campaigns, support characters, and how to be an excellent support character. Whether that's because you are a healer or a wizard kind of specializing a lot of buff spells, or you as a fighter want to be supportive and be a support character to another character in your game who is taking the spotlight for a story arc. Let's get into how to do it well. I've played a lot of support characters over the years. It's something that I kind of just gravitate towards, even if I build something that's like not intended to be a support character. I oftentimes just fall into that. I think me as a person, that tends to be like a role that I personally fall into a lot, so I find it easy to do. Also, I love playing magical casters. I love playing clerics and druids and anything that lets me cast spells. I love playing. And I think a lot of those classes often can fall under kind of the support, healer, that kind of category. So kind of naturally, because of the class, I have fallen into those roles. So I'm going to kind of split this into two parts. The first part, I'm going to talk about combat, and then the second part, I'm going to talk about roleplay. Starting off with combat, and this section is just naturally going to be geared a little bit more towards those support classes because we're talking about like the mechanics and stuff like that. Now, while a lot of support classes can do a lot of damage, you can be some heavy hitters. Oftentimes that's kind of a like one-off. You can't do that over and over and over. And I think because of this, kind of helping to buff your other players and control the environment can be ways that you can really change the tide of combat. A cleric who casts Bless on a fellow party member, or a bard who's handing out inspiration, like you are helping to boost the rest of your table. A well-placed hold person or silent spell can be just as game-changing as a heavy-hitting, damage attack. I really think the key to the combat side is communication and knowing abilities. So with knowing abilities, know what your spells do, how they work, how they will impact the table, impact the environment, impact the other players, impact your foes. And then also know the other player's abilities. I've done a whole separate video talking about like why you might want to know the other player's character sheets. But if you are in a party, even if you haven't looked at their character sheet, if you've been fighting with somebody for a while, you probably learn what it is that they're able to do. So you can know like, okay, the barbarian is going to rage, and that's going to give him an extra attack. And hey, if I cast haste on him, he gets another one, and that just adds to the effectiveness of it. Or if I cast enlarge on somebody, that is going to, make their hits even heavier. Or if you know that the warlock has true sight, you can cast a darkness spell, and the foes won't be able to see anything, but the warlock will still be able to do stuff. And especially if you know that, there's like a combination of moves, this is something you can maybe talk about out of game or even in game, kind of as characters like come up with a plan for, we know we're going into a big battle, or when we're in these situations, stay within range of me so I can cast this on you and then you can run in. There have been times where I've wanted to do something, but I haven't talked to the other player or the other character beforehand. And so they went rushing in and was like, oh no, I have something that would help this situation so much, but it's a touch spell and you're way too far away from me. And also as the squishy wizard, I don't want to get that close to battle. So if you talk about things kind of ahead of time and come up with a game plan, you can combine these abilities and really boost everybody's effectiveness in combat. On a similar note, positioning can be super important for a support character. You want to be able to, buff and heal your party members, but also oftentimes you are playing the squishier characters, so you don't want to be in the thick of battle. So oftentimes kind of holding back, but still being aware of like, what is my range to the other players? It might be taking advantage of the things in your environment and hiding behind things where you can pop out and buff or stay within range so that, if a spell has a certain range of effectiveness, it's helping the party, but you have partial cover or something like that to help protect you from somebody who's like, oh, wait, it's the wizard, let's attack them. I think it can be a lot of treating the combat as being the strategy person. You might not be the one who's in the thick of things or doing a lot of damage, but you're in the background pulling all of the strings and helping facilitate all of those really effective moments in combat. And the party is going to be aware of how crucial you are to their success. It's, you might not be making the basket, but you were the assist and they know you were there and they know how important that was. I've had times where I've given somebody bless or another one of those kind of like, you get to add a die or re-roll something if you want to. And because of that, somebody has been able to cast a really big spell that maybe they would have not cast because it was an iffy thing, but they knew they had that like redo if they just barely missed the target. A big thanks to all of our patrons, especially Marty. If you enjoy our videos and want to directly support us, Patreon is the best way. Head on over there and check out the perks of becoming a patron. Okay, let's get back to the video. Okay, now let's talk about the roleplay side. And this is something that honestly, no matter what class you are, you can kind of do this a little bit. Even a barbarian can be supportive in roleplay. Now, I think, like clerics and druids as natural healers often do fall into some of these support roles of like healing after the battle or dealing with wounds and stuff like that. Gives you a natural opportunity to like check in with those other characters, see how they're doing. And oftentimes these roles also kind of have a little bit more of the like spiritual element. So you are oftentimes not only kind of a, physical healer, but you can also be a bit of a like mental, maybe not healer, but guide or mentor or something like that. Offer some advice and wisdom. What really makes great support characters is being aware of kind of whose storyline it is. I love tables where it's a group story and all of that, but oftentimes there'll be little side quests that deal with somebody's backstory, or there's a specific artifact that one character wants to pursue. These are opportunities for that character to kind of take a little bit more of the spotlight. And so you can be a great support character and support them, ask questions, follow along with their lead, offer advice. I also will say like yes-anding the player and the GM, because you can also be a support character to the game master and help things along there. But I also think a good support character doesn't always say yes. There are times where somebody wants to go off and do something or approach a problem a certain way, and being a good support character is pointing out the flaws in their plan and then helping to come up with ways to fix those flaws. Or, okay, if this happens, how are we going to handle this? So that you are supporting them in the like, let's think through the things that could go wrong, or let's look at this from another perspective. I think a key characteristic of being a really great support character is curiosity. You might not think about it, but it's being curious of what does the other character think? What's going on for them? What do they want to do? And then supporting them in whatever it is that their answers are. It's being curious of what is the storyline that the game master is kind of helping weave, and wanting to follow along that storyline and being curious about the other characters and all of this and engaging with it, because you're going to shine not only your attention, but the table's attention onto whatever it is that you're curious about. And so that can help support following along with, what that character wants to do, or following this story thread that the game master has crafted and placed in front of the table. I think some people might shy away from playing support characters because they want to feel important. They want to feel vital to the campaign. But support characters are super vital. Not every, if everyone was the main character energy all the time, that would be exhausting. And that table wouldn't really work out. You need to kind of shift the focus around. And so you need to at times fall into these kind of support roles and support the other players in following along with their backstory storyline, or saying you know what, you have a really great plan with this. I'm going to support you and you take the lead, even if your character tends to be the natural leader. Maybe you just don't have a great approach to it, or maybe it's not the moment for your character to be in the lead for whatever reason. I really do think support characters are kind of like the heartbeat of campaigns. In a lot of live streams that I've watched, and actual plays and tables I've been at, there does tend to be the face of the group, or the main hero, the person kind of in front and take charge. But at least for me, I always find some of the support characters and the people who maybe fall into the background a little bit more exciting. I don't know, there's just something great of the moments where they do take the spotlight and shine, being super interested and engaged with that. And then also loving the moments where it's they're the ones that take this quiet, small roleplay moment that changes another character, that asks a question, that sparks the idea and helps come up with the plan, where maybe they didn't come up with the plan that ends up defeating the big bad, but they helped figure the pieces out. They assisted, or they helped buff. And so the fact that they cast this bless spell, or they cast silence at this moment, changed the course of the combat completely. And those create these moments where it's not just the one character who ran in and cast this amazing spell, or ran in and dealt the death blow, but it was the group. We worked together to do this, and that makes it so much more fun. All right, so what do you think makes a great support character? What are the things that you love to do to support your fellow players and characters around the table, whether you are in a traditional support role or not? Let's continue chatting about it down in the comments below. And even if you don't have a specific idea or anything, drop an emoji or something in the comments for the sake of engagement. It really helps our videos kind of get seen by more folks and continue the conversation. I really hope you found this video helpful and interesting. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative. Bye! Okay, we did it. We filmed a video. Boop!